Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
Very strong cold front making its way across the Bluegrass State as of now. That's ushering in some chilly showers. I'll tell you how long those stick around just ahead.
Lexington police now say they have some very good leads in their latest homicide investigation.
Also, new developments in the case against two former Boy Scout troop leaders in Lexington facing sexual abuse and child pornography charges. Welcome to WKYT News at 4. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. Heavy rain is moving through the Bluegrass this afternoon. A large line of showers and thunderstorms is in central and eastern Kentucky. You can see the rain there on our sky cam at Morehead State University. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is tracking the rain on First Alert Defender. Chris?
Yeah, rainy day on campus there with some of the beautiful fall colors that are beginning to show up. And unfortunately, a lot of the wind and the rain over the next couple of days will take some of those colors away from us, knocking some of those leaves down. Right now across Kentucky, temperatures mainly into the low 60s into most areas. A little spike up towards 66 in Frankfort, but we have a hint of some sunshine. Everybody else dealing with some overcast conditions. Steadier rains now lightening up the farther west that we go, where you see the darker greens, the oranges, the yellows. It's coming down at a pretty good clip. We were just showing you what it looks like here in Morehead, over towards Sandy Hook, West Liberty, down the Mountain Parkway, back into Owingsville, Mount Sterling, Frenchburg. Just an ugly day. Southeastern Kentucky, Hazard, Hyden, Manchester dealing with the soggy conditions, though from London west we're starting to see things drying up, at least in the short term. Now, the downtown Lexington area with some of the heavier rains just off to our north. Still some spotty showers across most of Fayette County. This whole mess continues to slowly inch its way toward the east. That's the same line of thunderstorms we were tracking out to our west. Jennifer, what we'll watch for in the coming days, this big upper level low that will be parking itself across Kentucky. That's a bad thing if you like sunshine. I'll show you why just ahead.
Lexington police are trying to figure out the name of the city's latest murder victim as they release new details in the case. This morning, police combed the area behind Premier Car Wash on West New Circle Road, where the man's body was found last night. In a news conference going on right now, police have just announced the arrests of 2 people in connection to the murder and that police are looking for 2 other people. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy has reaction from people who work near the car wash. It's our top story at 4.
We watched Lexington police search the wooded area behind Premier Car Wash looking for evidence. They also went door to door talking with individuals who work nearby. Yesterday, Lexington police found a body on Premier Car Wash's property. They are investigating this case as a homicide. They believe someone hit the victim over the head. Fayette County Coroner Gary Ginn says he found the body partially covered with a blanket. He is still trying to identify the body to determine a preliminary cause of death. Right now, we do know the body belonged to a white man in his 50s. People working nearby tell us it is not uncommon to see individuals in this abandoned car wash. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
And we'll have more from that police news conference coming up at 4:30. According to Premier Car Wash's Facebook page, it's been closed since December 2013. A Southern Kentucky Sunday school teacher is in jail this afternoon facing sexual abuse charges. Eubank police arrested Rex Murphy. We've learned he was a Sunday school teacher at Pollyann Church of God in Pulaski County and had been a youth pastor at Pine Grove Pentecostal Church in Richmond. The police chief in Eubank tells us the victim is an underage boy who said Murphy also threatened him with witchcraft. Murphy faces 3 felony charges. We'll have more from the Eubank police chief on the investigation on WKYT News at 5. A grand jury has indicted twin brothers on sexual abuse and child pornography charges that date back to the 1970s. Jerry and Jack Cassidy are accused of sexually abusing young boys for more than 20 years while they were leaders of a Boy Scout troop. The indictment includes charges of sexual acts with at least 5 victims, all under the age of 15. Lexington police say they also found hundreds of explicit photos of children in the suspect's home. The Cassidys are set to be arraigned October 24th. We'll have a closer look at this new indictment on WKYT News at 4:30. We're working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick is in the newsroom with a look at more of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon, Jennifer. A man accused of murdering a Central Kentucky toddler faced a judge this morning. State police say Joseph Adams injured a 13-month-old who was in his care at a home in Junction City last Friday, causing the child's death. The judge entered a not guilty plea on Adams' behalf this morning. According to an affidavit for a search warrant, a state police detective said it appeared the child's body showed indications of sexual abuse. We'll have more on what came out in court today on WKYT News at 5 o'clock. Fayette Mall in Lexington getting ready to unveil its new stores. The Cheesecake Factory opens later this month. The rest of the grand opening will happen on November 7th. More than 30 new stores coming to the mall, all in time for the holidays. Coming up on WKYT News at 5:30, you'll see all the progress and hear from people excited about the grand opening. Lexington Fire Department starting a new policy for potential Ebola patients. The new policy includes asking a series of questions to patients to determine if they have Ebola-like symptoms. The fire department says they also have special equipment to transport a patient with Ebola, designed with plastic drapes and emergency protective gear for EMS workers. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, you'll hear from a captain of the fire department. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Sam. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. As efforts ramp up to reduce the threat of Ebola, leaders in the U.S. are taking precautions to prepare for the worst. Ryan Nobles has more on the latest steps being taken.
Mike Rawlings is the mayor of Dallas, the only city where someone has died in the U.S. from Ebola.
Believe it or not, in our modern world, we don't know everything.
A Dallas area nurse who treated Ebola patient Thomas Eric Duncan said in a statement that she's, quote, doing well. Nina Pham received a blood transfusion on Monday from American Ebola survivor Kent Brantley. The CDC says it is working to determine how she became infected.
A single infection in a healthcare worker is unacceptable. And what we're doing at this point is looking at everything we can do to minimize that risk.
On a local level, leaders like Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick say they are learning from Dallas and doing all they can now before it is too late.
The larger concerns are being taken very seriously, but there is not a cause for alarm.
Americans aren't alarmed yet, but they are concerned. A new Washington Post ABC News poll shows 65% are worried about a widespread Ebola epidemic here in the U.S. This as the World Health Organization warns that Ebola cases in West Africa could jump up to as many as 10,000 cases a week by December, prompting Spain, where another case of Ebola has been contracted, and other European countries to beef up their response.
Until we start to diminish the outbreak, we have to contemplate the possibilities of imported cases.
Meanwhile, the UN Security Council met to discuss an unprecedented coordinated strategy. I'm Ryan Nobles reporting.
A United Nations medical worker infected with Ebola in Liberia died in Germany today. Doctors at the University of Kansas are treating a medic who served on a ship off the West African coast. He's currently in isolation, being tested for Ebola. A mixed day on Wall Street. The Dow ended down 6 points to close at 16,315. The Nasdaq added 14 points, and the S&P 500 picked up 3. Millions of retired Americans depend on Social Security, but a lack of funding may force the government to cut back those checks in the decades to come. As Marissa Bailey explains, that has financial advisors telling millennials to start saving for retirement now.
With baby boomers retiring at a faster pace, the Social Security system is rapidly changing.
I think the biggest misunderstanding is that there's a big pile of money sitting somewhere, and there's not.
Michael Miller, associate professor of economics at DePaul, says we likely have Social Security for the foreseeable future, but the system is broken, and 20 and 30-somethings will be affected most.
The baby boom are going to begin retire at really quick pace coming up over the next 5 years, and the number of people working is going to go down. When you add those two things together, you have a crisis.
A 2004 report showed the Social Security Trust Fund would likely run out in 2042. The newest numbers, though, show it's likely to run out much sooner, in 2033. Benefits will still be paid, but you'll get 23% less.
It's difficult to count on things when you're not in charge of them.
Financial planner Danielle Ferrari Marshall says you should start saving immediately and start with your company's retirement plan.
Absolutely contribute up to the employer match.
Also consider an IRA.
How important is it to put away $10 a month?
Oh, it's absolutely important, even if it's with a very little amount.
Remember, any amount you save, no matter how small, is a step in the right financial direction. Marissa Bailey for CBS News, Chicago.
A few proposals to reform Social Security include increasing payroll taxes, raising the retirement age, and reducing benefits for people with higher incomes. The secret to a long, happy marriage may be a cheap wedding. Two economics professors at Emory University found couples who spend less on their weddings tend to have longer lasting marriages than those who splurge. The study also found a link between less expensive engagement rings and lower divorce rates. In terms of dollars, women who spent more than $20,000 on a wedding divorced 1.6 times more than those who had a $5,000 to $10,000 wedding. It literally pays to be a dad. In 2010, men with children earned 40% more than men without offspring. A new national foundation found dads had a median salary of $49,000 compared to about $29,000 for men who don't have children. Why the difference? Part of the reason may be fathers tend to be older and more established in their jobs and command higher wages. It's time for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. One group hopes a greenish-blue pumpkin could help protect children this Halloween who have food allergies. Many children have allergies to dairy, nuts, and soy. Many Halloween treats contain those very ingredients. So this year, the Food and Allergy Research and Education Organization is encouraging people to put a teal-painted pumpkin outside their door if they're offering non-food treats for children with allergies. The group suggests small toys, stickers, and crayons as an option. Food allergies can be life-threatening, and they affect 1 in 13 children in the United States. McDonald's is taking on its critics. The fast food giant is asking and answering questions about the quality of its food. McDonald's has launched an informational campaign called Our Food, Your Questions on its website. Curious consumers can find out how McNuggets are made and what kind of meat is in McDonald's burgers. McDonald's also wants to put to rest the myth that its food contains pink slime. Living near a major roadway may significantly increase a woman's risk of sudden cardiac death. Researchers in Boston found women living within 50 meters of a major road, that's the distance of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, had increased the risk of death by 38%. Scientists say it is a key risk factor, just like smoking, diet, and obesity. They blame the increased risk on greater exposure to air pollution. British airline Thomson Airways could soon make the skies a bit more family-friendly. The carrier is considering family booth-style seating on airplanes that will seat parents and children face-to-face around a table. They're also looking at onboard childcare services. Flight attendants will be trained to entertain children with crafts and games. There are also plans for couple pods featuring mood lighting and even a table for champagne. A Thomson spokeswoman says the ideas could be rolled out over the next 5 years. The world's largest chocolate companies are joining the battle against Ebola. Companies including Nestle, Mars, Hershey, Godiva, and General Mills are all raising money to fight the outbreak. Donations will go to the International Federation of Red Cross, the Red Crescent Societies, and Caritas, a charity affiliated with the Catholic Church. West Africa produces about 70% of the world's cocoa supply.